Greetings, Long Branch Elementary. I am doing the weekly updates for the week of August 29th, 2022. So let's first address the elephant in the room. Why the hat and glasses? Why not? Elephant in the room addressed. Anchor charts. Listen to Benchmark Advanced Teacher Resource System are anchor charts that must be posted. Make sure that you are reading through the curriculum and are charting what Benchmark says to chart. If you chart it, it should be in the journals as well. I have listed a few from third grade ELA's first week rituals and routines section, and when you look at the weekly updates, you'll see them below. These should be charted and on the right side of the student journals. You can copy and paste or tape these in the journals if you feel it is best. However, best practice is to engage multiple learning modalities by having students to listen, that's the auditory learning, to see, that's the visual learning, and to write, that's the reading, writing learning. Students are able to retain more information when engaging in multiple learning styles. There's a link that I put below as well that says VARC, that's the four learning modality styles. VARC is for visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. Okay, emergency sub plans. Emergency sub plans were due on Friday, August 26, 2022, to Ms. Stewart. Reading interventions. Training for reading interventions are underway, and we will start corrective reading for B1s, LLI, Seeing Stars, Benchmark Advanced Interventions, etc. by mid-September. Journal layout and breakdown. Important information that is charted needs to be placed in journals along with student work. The journal is used as a resource to assist students with the mastery of the content. It must have a few pages in front for a table of contents. When the journal is open, both pages count as one page. So in other words, the left page is one as well as the right page is one. Students write their thoughts, understanding of the content, and have their work on the left side. Teachers' notes are on the right side. A way to remember this is teachers are always right. That is not true. For students that are lower performing, it is okay to make copies of some items to put in their journals to scaffold and expedite the instructional process. However, it is a scaffolding process, and students must be able to read, write, and discuss. So we must ensure that we are not crippling students by not giving them opportunities to write and express their thoughts. Read, write, discuss. Every student should know that this is the key to their academic success in ELA and all subject areas. When we come into your class, we should see this posted, and students should be able to articulate that to be able to read, write, and discuss is the key to success. Testing. Pay attention to testing dates. When students are testing in your classroom, you must always circulate, and the room should be conducive for testing. This means that students are not talking or moving around while students are testing. If students are testing in math, they should have scratched paper that is sectioned off and a pencil to write with. That's all times. Math blended learning. All students that are on a computer-based learning math platform must have pencils and scratch paper. Additionally, they must be shown how to section off their paper to organize their work on their paper. See instructional leadership if you need help on this. It's simply having the kids take their sheet of paper, fold it in half, then fold that in another half, then fold that one again. When you open it back up, you'll have 8 total squares on each side of the paper. And you have students do their work in each square. Now, if the work is something that takes more than one square, have them use 2 squares for it. They'll simply just write 1 and 1 in those 2 squares. If it takes 4 squares, they'll write 1, 1, 1, and 1 in those squares. But you want to make sure that students are organizing their work when doing math. If they are not doing this, a lot of their time is being wasted, and they're not really given the time and due diligence to solve those problems. Big deal, big deal on that. Arrival dismissal. Make sure you are on duty by 8 a.m. We have made some adjustments to dismissal. Team up will be called last, and make sure you're able to hear the announcements. And one other note, make sure instruction starts by 8:30 a.m. Make sure instruction starts, or you have your kids, or you're in the process by 8:30 a.m. because I know some use the restrooms in the morning. Just make sure you're in possession of your kids and the day has started by 8:30 a.m. ELA and science. We'll be doing word problems and science problems as a bell ringer in ELA. This should not take more than 3 to 5 minutes. We will be making a shift in third and fourth grade, and the ELE teachers will embed science and the social studies in the ELA. Math teachers will be responsible for math only. This is because our proficiency goal for math is 80%. We need 4 to 5 kids to be proficient in math. Our science goal for fifth grade is 60%, 3 to 5 kids. In ELA, it's half, 50% of the kids being proficient. That gives us 190 points, by the way, of 300. That'll get us an A. Common planning. Science common planning is on Wednesdays, ELA is on Thursdays, and math is on Fridays unless otherwise communicated. Common planning happens weekly. The only thing that supersedes common planning is testing or school emergencies. Resource teachers will go to your classroom so you are on time for common planning, and you report to the interventionist coach's office unless told otherwise. An agenda will always be sent to you or given to you. Items for discussion, do nows, and do next with minutes will always be taken and emailed to you. All student work is a must to show evidence of implementation and proficiency of the lesson objective. Our goal is 70% to show proficiency in a lesson objective by the close of the lesson. We always really want 100%. Keep that in mind as your goal. Because remember, we want 80 math, 60 science, 50% reading. If less than 70% show proficiency on the benchmark, we must come with a plan of remediation, reteaching, and reassessment. Now, if 70% or more master the content, we must come with a plan of remediation, reteaching, and reassessment for the 30% or less of students that do not show proficiency. A causality is done for the class after every assessment that is less than 70% of the students showing proficiency. In other words, if you do an assessment and only 60% of the kids get, say, a 70 or better, or whatever our threshold is, a 60 or better, whatever we want to show proficiency, then we do what's called a causality to see exactly what we need to address. In doing a causality, there are 3 reasons, or a combination of those reasons, why students don't perform. It's either the student, the teacher, or the assessment. So we do a causality to see exactly what that is. And that involves taking students, showing their work, and having students kind of explain their thinking. Even sometimes having students read a passage to see if it had nothing to do with the actual benchmark, something to do with actually the student being able to read, or students being able to read at a certain level. So we do an analysis of that. PLC for Tuesday. The PLC for Tuesday, August 30th, 2022, will involve classroom visits by peers to assess anchor charts, room and door decor, room arrangement, and the room arrangement is the desk arrangement for collaboration, etc. K and 1 will be together, 2nd and 3rd will be together, and 4th and 5th will be together. We will meet in the interventionist office, then transition to classrooms. The agenda is attached. You'll see it attached to the email. Benchmark focus cards for journals. I'm exploring an idea of having the focus boards pre-printed to go into journals. Essentially, we're thinking of a way to actually have the benchmarks associated with the lessons, just simply pre-printed. That way they can just easily go into journals. That way it eliminates a lot of time that students would have to write certain things. Now, I've already said to you before that certain things should be written that we want kids to kind of commit to memory, but kids knowing the actual full objectives and a standard, that's not something we need kids to commit to memory. We need certain specifics of that for kids to know, but not the whole thing. So things that are not as needed for the students to know directly, but are important to the benchmark and to the instruction, we want to find a way to streamline, have that information in those journals. Times for best ELA writing, best math, and 5th grade science. Attach an example that was created by Mrs. James to show you how your core blocks should be timed and posted in your classroom. Essentially, your instruction delivery should be mapped out so you're accountable and give adequate time to complete your lessons. You need to have some type of timing system to alert you when the allotted time has concluded. You will see an example below. There's the block is from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. It's an ELA block. And it says basically from 8:30 to 8:40 a.m. It's 10-minute read aloud. 8:49:10 is the 25 minutes for the reading spotlight. From 9:10 to 9:40 is the 25 to 30 minutes for the communication spotlight. And the 9:40 to 10 is the 20 minutes for the foundation vocabulary spotlight. And you'll obviously have a time in there for assessment as well. Character counts. The character count / student of the month in September, we will start doing character count lunch bunches for K through 5. I will be doing those with the students. You'll be required to send the name and reason why they were chosen for one student from your homeroom. At the end of the month, we will choose one of the students as student of the month. Essentially, we're going to be having different characters per month. You may have one as honesty, responsibility, respect, different things we have for the month. You'll simply send over the name of one of your homeroom students and the reason why. I'll look over those. We'll choose. All those students will come to a lunch bunch, but we'll choose one that will be the student of the month. Employee of the month. We will start naming one faculty or one staff member monthly as the employee of the month, and they will receive the gift. Cash giveaway. We're also still doing the cash giveaway. Highlight a fellow employee for doing something great, and you both can win gifts and or prizes. Simply write out what you observed on a sticky note and place it in the glass jar on my desk. I'll be randomly choosing winners throughout the year. Make this week better than your last week. Let's be the best school in Duval this year. And next year, we can focus on being the best school in Florida. You've got this. Thank you.